Hello, everyone. I think I'm just going to start and then, yeah, people will arrive, probably more of you eventually. I just want to say hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on extended producer responsibility. This webinar is part 3 of a webinar series in a project to investigate a possible EPR for textiles in Norway. The project is initiated by Norwegian producers themselves, and the steering group consists of the Federation of Norwegian Industries, known as Norsk Industri in Norwegian, and Virke, the Federation of Norwegian Enterprises, and NF&TA, short for Norwegian Fashion and Textile Agenda. NF&TA is the national cluster for the fashion and textile industry in Norway. This project is funded in part by Norwegian Retailers Environment Fund, known as Handelsmiljøfond in Norwegian. The aim of this project is to provide a recommendation from the producers to the industry on a possible EPR for textiles in Norway, and at the same time provide the fashion and textile industry in Norway with skills and knowledge about EPR. Today's webinar has been arranged for that reason, to learn about EPR, and who better to learn from than France, who is the only country in Europe with an EPR on textiles in place, and they have 13 years of experience. We're very grateful that Maud Hardy has taken the time to talk to us today about the French EPR system. Maud is the Circular Economy Director at Refashion, previously known as EcoTLC. Refashion is the industry's only producer responsibility organization in France. As you can see from the agenda, today's webinar will start with a talk by Maud, followed by a Q&A in English. And Maud sadly has to leave us at 10 o'clock, so at around 10 we'll continue our discussions in Norwegian. And please ask Maud questions and contribute to the discussions. You can do that either by raising your hand or writing a question in the chat panel. Peter Sundt will round up discussions with a little recap before we end today's webinar. And on that note, I'd like to welcome Maud Hardy. Welcome, Maud.
Hello everyone. Hello, and thank you for having me today. I'm very happy to be able to share with you the French experimentation on EPR. And if this is fine for you, I'm going to share my screen. So I will go through my presentation. So hopefully right now you are all able to see my screen. Is it fine for you? Yes, perfect.
Yes, thanks.
So I will start my presentation. It's going to last more or less 15 to 20 minutes. If you have any question, it's up to you whether you interrupt me, or if you prefer, we can keep all the questions for the end of the presentation. It's really up to you. So on that note, I will start to present you our French experimentation on EPR. The content will be divided into 2 sections. First of all, present you Refashion, who we are, what is the project we are working on, and what are the key figures and the key achievements. And then I will do a presentation on the analysis we are making after more than 10 years of EPR in France. So who are we? Refashion. We are a private company, a non-profit private company. We are accredited by the French Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Economy, and we are directed by a board of 29 manufacturers, retailers, and 3 federations. You have here the presentation of all the companies that are our shareholders since the creation of the company in 2008. So the collective project, the vision we have is that we want to make fashion industry 100% circular. The mission is to bring together all the stakeholders of the sector to develop eco-design, reuse, and recycling. And those 3 key axes will run through the presentation. The priorities are focused on the 3 stages of the life cycle of the product. First is the production. We have to rethink production. Then is the consumption of the product, and then is the waste, obviously. And we also have the mission to measure and to share all the environmental, economic, and social performance of the industry. So how is it working? What is the business model? It's very easy. On the top of the screen, you have the brands. The brands have the obligation to contribute to the EPR scheme, so they are paying an eco-contribution to Refashion. Refashion, with this amount, which is more or less 35 million euros in 2020, is supporting the sorting operators you see on the left part of the screen. We also support local communities that are doing communication campaign to raise awareness among citizens, and we are also supporting innovation by supporting new projects. So this is the basic presentation of the business model. We are here to inform consumers, we are here to encourage the development of eco-design products, and we are here to facilitate the networking between all the stakeholders of the ecosystem. Key figures of 2020. So you know 2020 has been a very peculiar year for everyone. So the data you have here are not necessarily the data that are giving a right perspective of the figures. If you want, I can also share the figures of 2019 or 2018, and you can also find them in our annual report. So basically, these are the figures. We are now considering that the total brands that are putting products on the French markets, and when I mean products, it's textile and footwear, those two categories. It's more or less 4,000 companies, and they have placed more than 500,000 tons of textile and footwear in 2020. The collection. The collectors have collected more or less 1/3 of those products placed on the market. And in France, we have more than 44,000 collection points. So it's a very nice network of collection points. And in terms of sorting, the sorters have sorted more than 150,000 tons. And we have supported 64 centers that are doing sorting. So they are basically in France, Belgium, Holland, Spain, and Germany. And those sorting centers have received more than 17 million euros of support. If you want additional details, I have placed a link on the presentation, so you can go and download the annual report, which is available in French and in English. What are the key projects we are working on? The first category of project, I mentioned that we are considering our action on the 3 phases of the product life cycle. So the first phase is the production. And we are here to rethink production and to engage all the brands in moving and in engaging themselves into eco-design. Eco-design is critical. We have to support the brands that need to transform their way of thinking the production. Eco-design and environmental assessments are key. We have developed a platform, a digital platform called ecodesign. It's free of access for everyone, and it's a very useful toolbox to help brands into moving from a circular model to from a linear model to a circular model, with a lot of information, a lot of support to help them in the change. We also have a tool which is called the Refashion fee and eco-modulation, which is the obligative contribution that the brand have to pay. And the more eco-design your product is, the less contribution you will pay. We are also part of the European PEFCR project. I'm not sure everyone is aware of that. This is a European project to create a common guideline to environmental assessment. And this European project will lead to a European environmental labeling. So this is a critical project. I know that HAM, which is in the room today, I think is part of the PEFCR. There are many federations also that are part of this project, and it's critical now to be part of it because this is going to rule the future of design, textile and footwear in Europe. And we are also supporting the French experimentation on environmental labeling. And you see on the right of the screen the label ABCDE, which is the French environmental labeling. The second phase of the product life cycle is the consumption. And here we also have a key role to play because we have to educate the consumer into taking care of the product and into have a longer life cycle of the product. We have a national campaign called #RRR for repairing, reusing and recycle. The campaign is running today for the week, so you can see it on the French social network. We have more than 120 brands that have joined this campaign. It's a unique campaign. We all have the same messages towards consumers. And this year, in 2021, we have had a new R, which is the R for reduction. So we are also very conscious that reduction is also be a key element of the future. And in this second phase of the product life cycle, we are supporting financially the local communities that are doing initiatives toward consumption. And the third, last but not least, phase of the product life cycle is the valorization. And here we have to invest massively to be able to find solutions to recycle all the products that are coming into an end of their life cycle. So we have launched another digital platform called Recycle platform, which is a kind of Tinder of the stakeholders of the recycling industry. So it's a platform where you can connect from the sorters to the integrators of the recycled material. We also have an annual contest called Innovation Challenge, which is open now, and that will be open until end of November. We also support the European initiative called Rehubs from Euratex. I'm sure you have all heard of this initiative. And we also have specific initiatives towards non-wovens and composites plastics, because we know that we will not be able to do only closed loop solution, and we have to open our chakra to the other industries, construction, plastics, automotive, etc. So these are, in summary, our key projects, and you also can find them on our website. If you want to have additional details, I also placed the URL of our French website. It's available in French and in English. So this was a quick presentation, and I also made a few snapshots of the best success we have in the Innovation Challenge. We have invested more than 5 million euros over the last 11 years, and we have supported 55 projects. We have a magazine called Innovation, so you can go and see in the magazine all the project one by one. All those projects that you see in the slide are both closed loop and open loop, obviously. So this was the first part. So if it's okay for you, I'm going to go to the second part, or I can stop to have some questions. Let me know what you prefer.
Oh, thank you, Maud. It's very, very interesting so far. Please just carry on.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So the analysis we are making after more than 10 years of EPR scheme. First of all, I wanted to maybe make a recap of the history of the EPR in France. So in France, the law was voted in 2007. In 2008, we had the creation of EcoTLC, which was the previous name of Refashion. From 2009 to 2013, we had our first accreditation period from the Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Economy. The key result after those 6 years was that the EPR mechanism was working, and the company, EcoTLC, was managing the EPR, which was not easy because we were the only eco organization for textile in France. We managed to have a collection rate of 27%, and we have doubled the number of tons sorted from 2009 to 2013. Then we had our second accreditation period. And here the key objective was to accelerate the efficiency of the system. After 10 years, so from 2009 to 2019, brands have invested more than 150 million euros in contribution. And the outcome is that the recycling solutions are so far not sufficiently industrialized and profitable. So we went to see the ministries and we said, okay, now we want to have a short accreditation period, 3 years from 2020 to 2022, because we want to renegotiate the fundamental of the EPR scheme. The key objective here is to focus our investment into recycling. This is the critical stage now that we have to understand. If we don't invest massively in recycling, the EPR scheme will not be able to work. So we are now currently renegotiating this with the ministries and the other stakeholders. And ideally, the new accreditation period will be from 2023 to maybe 2028, because at the end of the story, the textile and footwear industry will be completely autonomous and refashion will disappear. And this will be perfect. So we will have achieved our main goal to make a 100% circular sector. I wanted to share also with you 3 insights. First of all, used textile and footwear, they have to move from waste to new resources. waste will have to disappear. So let's think new resources. If we make an average calculation, we are more or less 500 million consumers in Europe, and we more or less buy 10 kilos per year of textile and footwear. So it's more or less 5 million tons of textile and footwear that are placed on the market every year. 1/3 of those quantities are separately collected. So it's 1.6 million euros. 60% are reused, so they are sold as textile and footwear, and 40% are recycled. So you see where I'm coming. The 2 remaining thirds of those products are today placed on the household waste. So they are incinerated or landfilled. So this situation is going to be banned in the next coming year by the European Commission and by national legislation. So this is critical to understand that the objective we all have as a sector is that we have to make textile collection and sorting and recycling costs, those stages, they have to cost less than the household waste management. Otherwise, it doesn't make any economical sense. And let's face it, if we are not able to achieve this equation, everything will stay on the household waste. So this is the first thing that I wanted to share with you. And please remind that as of 1st of January 2025, there is a mandatory separate collection for textile and footwear in all European countries. The second insight, and it's a prolongation of the first one, is that recycling is really the key driver. When you see the evolution from 10 years ago today and into 10 years, the reusable part of the textile that we are collecting is going to decrease. The recycle will have to increase because waste will have to disappear. So this is also to share with you the fact that the more you collect, the less you reuse, because the less the quality of the product that you are collecting will be able to be reused. So the recycling industry needs to be operational before increasing the collection rate. Collection rate is not an objective you have to look at if you haven't placed into the European territory sufficiently recycling hubs, recycling facilities. Otherwise, you will stock the facilities of the sorters with huge amount of waste that they will not be able to process. And the last insight is that the emergency today is to address the recycling issue in Europe. When you look at the panorama of the French waste streams, everything that you see here is processed outside of France. Both reuse, which is more or less 60%, and recycling. Reuse is basically done in Africa, and recycling is basically done in Asia. Today, this is a problem. The key issue today is that we have to develop on a European territory sufficiently solution of recycling of those used textile and footwear. So, as a recap, I would say that the 4 areas of improvements that we have to focus on to leverage both reuse and recycle is that we have to invest massively in Europe on recycling industrialization. We have to improve the product durability. Eco-design is absolutely key. We have to optimize the sorting efficiency to mainly focus on reuse and then focus on recycling. And obviously, after that, we will be able to increase collection, both in quality and quantity. The key learning, I would say, is that the timing and priority will depend on each country. And the EPR deployment only makes sense if we are able to connect on a European level the manufacturers that will integrate recycled materials with those integrators. We have to create this network of companies that will use the used recycling material. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. The key recycling solution that we see is non-wovens for construction and transportation, compounds for the plastic industry, and yarns to create the closed loop. But let's face it, we will not be able to absorb the huge quantity of waste in closed loop. So we have to open our collaboration with the other sectors of the industry. And this is the objective of the Recycle platform. This is a platform that we have launched a few weeks ago. It's a free platform and it's open to all the European industry that want to be part of the adventure, I would say. Last but not least, a few do's and don'ts. So I'm not going to be again saying it, but we have to develop a profitable recycling industry in Europe, that's for sure. Does. We have to support brand and they have to engage in eco-designing the products. So if this means creating webinars, training sessions, audits, everything that we can now put on the table to help brands into this adventure, we have to do it now, because the products that are being designed today will be the waste of tomorrow. So let's face it, we have to address today the new products that we will have to sort tomorrow. We have to support all the PEF initiative. PEF stands for Product Environmental Footprint Assessment, like the PEFCR from Europe. We have to support the industrialization of non-reusable textile preparation and integration to have sufficient and competitive volume by category of material. The key issue today is that we are not able to separate polyester from cotton, from acrylic, from polyamide on an automated way. This has to be done in the coming years. We also have to agree on a European roadmap to replace virgin material by recycled materials. And also we'll have to enhance collaboration amongst all the stakeholders. And the don'ts, we have to stop pretending reuse is enough. Reuse is key, absolutely. When you look at the hierarchy of the, I would say, use model, reuse has to be the first step. But this is not enough. We have to now focus on recycling. And we have to stop subsidizing the profitable reusable activities. And we have to stop subsidizing the exportation of reusable and non-reusable textile to Asia and Africa. We have to take this on a European stage and level. We have to invest in Europe to be able to process our waste in Europe. Last slide, promise. This is the mapping of all the stakeholders of the industry. And here I want to share the message that each stakeholder has a key role to play. The designers are here to change the way they are thinking. We need to have eco-design products that will be more durable, that will integrate recyclable material, and that will be able to be recycled. This is key. The brands, they are here to promote textile and footwear recovery, and they are here to raise consumer awareness. Citizens, they can extend product life of the products they have purchased, and they also need to have the sorting reflex by giving a second life to the used textile and footwear. Collection point holders, they are here to ensure a sufficient implementation to be able for the citizen to get rid of their products. The sorting operators, they have to organize the massification of the waste streams. The sorting operators, they have to develop and appropriate an efficient textile and footwear sorting to optimize reuse and recycling. Recycling operators, they have to transform the non-reusable textile into a new raw materials. And the local communities, they are absolutely critical here because they are here to raise citizen awareness, and they are also here to facilitate the recycling initiatives on their territory. And then the last message is that the key objective is that we have to reuse and or recycle 100% of the collected textile and footwear in Europe. If you want to continue the discussion, I have a last slide with the key contacts of the Refashion company. So Alain Clodo is the general manager, Sandra Baldini is the marketing and communication director, and Hélène Darret is in charge of all the relations with the brands. And that's it. I also, if I have maybe 5 minutes, I can share a video. Otherwise, I will give you the link and you can watch the video. It's a movie presentation of Refashion.
So I think we have 5 minutes if you want to.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I will present it with the sound. It will be better. So I will relaunch it. That's it. So go for the movie. And that's it, guys. 9:27. Wow, I'm
Great.
good.
Yay. Well done. Thank you so much. That was a really interesting presentation and so many aspects. And it's amazing that you've been doing this for such a long time when no other country in Europe has managed to build a proper EPR system like yours. So very interesting to learn more about the French EPR system. And I'd like to remind everyone to please ask questions. Either raise your hands with the little hand raising tool in the top right corner, or you can write your questions in the chat and I'll read them out. I see there's already 2 questions in the chat, so maybe I can just start by reading those out to you, Maud.
Okay.
I'll start with the first one, which is from Varner in Norway. Christiane Fagertu, and she asks, have I understood it correctly that the French companies will pay a fee based on the volume they produce? Is it mandatory or is it voluntary?
It's absolutely mandatory, and it's absolutely based on the average weight of the product they are placing in the market. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then Marianne Haugland is asking what collection systems for citizens provide for better qualities. Are there different best practices regarding scarce or dense populations?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So far, when we look at the French territory, we have more than 40,000 collection points. So those collection points can be containers that you see on the supermarket parking or on the local communities areas. We also have all the retailers that are now collecting the used textiles. So H&M was the first one that has put in place this on 100% of the stores, but now many other brands are doing this. We also have all the non-charity organizations that are collecting products, Red Cross, Salvation Army, etc. And we also have in France, I'm not sure of the word in English, is that we call it déchetterie. It's a place in the local community where all the waste streams can be placed, and this is managed by the local community. So these are the first normal, I would say, collection points. But I'm sure that collection has to be completely Uberized, and we have to reinvent collection. And my conviction is that the consumer who is owning the product is the key driver of the new collection model. I'm sure that consumers are wise enough to be able to separate the textile that can be reused from the textile that has to be recycled. I'm sure that consumers are able to identify material once we will have maybe digital scanner in the mobile phone that you will be able to scan your product and see whether it's 100% cotton or 100% polyester, because the recycling solutions are different from the material. So I think that in the coming years, we have to invest and we have to support innovation into placing the consumer in a key role in the recycling process, which is the beginning, the sorting. The sorting has to be made, I think, from the consumer. Otherwise, when you look at the sorting centers, you have huge amounts of multi-material, multi-product, and this is very costly.
Great, thank you. I see that H&M, Felicia, has raised her hand, so maybe Felicia, if you want to. Hi.
Hi, Maud. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
I have heard a lot about you from my colleagues in France as well. So finally, I get to see you. I had a question about, do you have any goals year on year, how much to increase the collection that is set from the government or that is set from you guys?
Well, we have from the government in our accreditation document a collection goal, a recycling goal, and a reusable goal. From the beginning of our first mandate, we had a collection goal of 50%, which we have never reached. And like I explained at the presentation, we are not looking at reaching this goal because it doesn't make sense to reach a percentage of tons collected if you are not able to process them and if you are not able to create a value from the recycled material. So far we haven't achieved our collection goal, but we have achieved the reusable goal and the recycling goal because everything is going outside of France. Everything is being shipped to Asia and Africa. In the coming agreement that we are negotiating so far, we will also have eco-design goal, and probably we will have a reduction goal. We are not sure because we haven't seen the document so far. It's supposed to be published in October, so maybe that in 2 or 3 days I will be able to share with Peter the new document, but so far we haven't have it. But this is the way we see that the other sectors are having their agreement. We will have new objectives on all the life cycle phases.
Thank you. And I was also wondering then, you say that you have different collection points, of course, charities and stores and so on. Are then we, H&M, are we reporting the kilos that we collect to the system then? And
Absolutely, absolutely, Felicia. All the tons that are being collected in H&M store in France are being processed by ICO SOEX, which is one of the leading sorting and recycling companies. And everything is being reported, and the sorter SOEX is being financially supported thanks to the tons they are collecting in the H&M stores.
Okay. Because in the EPR in Sweden, they're looking into a reporting system that I don't think SOEX will be able to handle for us then if we collect in the stores.
Why?
Because they then want the exact reuse, I can't remember how you call it in English, but rewear, reuse, recycling. And I don't think they will be able to do that for what we are collecting. Do you see what I mean?
No.
So they will then be able to do it on a bigger scale. But
weird.
I don't think what we are sending from Sweden that they can report exactly what is going on with that. They can report on a higher level.
No, they can, Felicia, because in France, the support that the sorters are getting for reuse and recycle is not the same. For reuse, they get 80 euros per ton, and for recycle, they get much more. So they have every interest in tracing exactly where the collected textile and footwear are going to. So
yeah, but I'm just thinking when I was there, when I see them, everything comes, in and then they sort it, but it's not what's coming from Sweden or H&M Sweden or.
I'm sure they are able to do it. I'm sure they are. They are able to trace it.
So that's my, how do you say it? I'm not sure that will work, but we'll see. But I also had one more with the charities. Then they collect, and then they will the waste will then go into the collection system after they sorted, or how?
No, the charities, when they collect the waste streams, they are declaring it to Refashion, and if they sort it, they get financially support, and if they are not sorting it and if they are reselling it to other sorters, the sorter is getting the subsidies.
Okay.
The French model is very weird, but it's like that. We are only supporting the sorting stage, not the collection. The collection is not supported. It's only the sorting.
Okay.
And what we want to focus on for the next accreditation period is not to support the sorting, or maybe support it very, very on a small amount, but we want to support the recycling actions. So we want to move from financing the sorting to financing the recycling, because we know that today this activity is not profitable, because today there is not a sufficient demand on recycling material, and that the processes are not today completely industrialized. So this is where the industry needs the brand support into investment on the recycling facilities.
Yes, I had one last question, if that's okay. Sorry. It's about reporting and also on eco-design. How many brands are able to do that today? Is it working or is it hard?
I think that it's the beginning of a complete transformation of the industry. From the knowledge that we have of the more than 5,000 brands that are selling products in France, all of them understand that the transformation is now, I will say, inevitable. You have to be on a new model. I'm sure that some of them are brand new, that are, I would say, completely into circular model. And the other one, they have to change. The change will be difficult. Some of them will not be here in 2, 3, or 5 or 10 years, that's for sure. But there is no other option. There is no planet B. So eco-design is the only option. So this is the message that we are trying to share with them, and we are trying to give them the tool to reinvent the new brand into this eco-design approach. And we are launching I don't know if you say in English, a barometer. It's like an index of all the eco-design brands. This barometer will be launched at the end of the year in 2021, and we will be able to track down every year how many brands have engaged themselves into an eco-design approach. And this is a scoop for you guys. In the 2023 declaration of the contribution, the brands that will not have engaged themselves into an eco-design approach will get a penalty, a malus on the contribution. So this is for us a very strong message to empower the brand into the transformation of the model.
Excellent. I'm just going to continue. Sorry, I'm just going to continue reading out the questions in the chat. There's loads of questions for you, so we might not be able to get through all of them, but we'll try. Johanne Solheim asks, could you please elaborate a little on the role of municipalities in this system and how you cooperate with the many stakeholders?
Yes, thank you. This is a good question, because in the textile EPR, collectivities, local communities do not get support financially on the tons they are processing, which is completely different from the packaging waste stream or the other electronic waste stream or furniture. On the textile EPR, collectivities, local communities only get financial support on the communication campaigns they are doing towards the citizen to make the citizen understand that textile doesn't go to the household waste, but textile has to be separately collected. This is the way it works today, and the collectivities are being supported if they have sufficient collection point holders on their territory, and if the campaign that they are doing are respecting the charts and the guidelines that we are giving them. This is the way the French mandate is written. Tomorrow, we want to change this, and we want to empower the local communities into also engaging themselves into creating sorting facilities or recycling facilities initiative in their territory. So we want to move this financial support from communication campaigns to really operational and I would say industrial facilities. So this is also in negotiation today.
Okay, thanks. The next question is from Anna Petersson. What do you believe is the reason for the rather low collection rate of textiles? Is it unawareness, laziness, distrust in the recycling system?
Everything, all of that. And I can add another one, which is a lack of transparency. Today, the consumer thinks that when he is placing a product, a used product into a container, this used textile is going to be given to a poor in the neighborhood. So we are all thinking, oh, I'm doing a good action in giving my used jean because I know that some poor people are in my neighborhood. This is completely false. This is completely fantasy. The used textile that are placed into the containers are sent to Africa. Let's face it. And today, we haven't been transparent with the consumer. We haven't explained why this is a key stage, because the money that is being received for the sorters when they sell these textile to Africa, this money is allowing to finance a local initiative to support homeless people, to support work initiatives. So it has to be done, but it has to be said. Otherwise, consumers are reluctant to place the products into the containers. So I think that we have to be transparent. This is the way the ONG and the non-profitable organization are working, and it's fine. It's fine if your product is being resold, but just say it.
Thanks. The next question is from Margrethe Vikanes. How is the fee calculated and differed for conventional products versus products which are designed and produced more sustainably? For example, GOTS certified products, GOTS.
Yes. Yes. The contribution is calculated on an average weight per category. And then, so the barema, the fee is changing every year and it's increasing every year. To give you an example, over the last 2 years, the contribution has doubled. And probably next year it will be tripled because we have to face the need of financial support towards recycling. If you are able to provide evidence that your product is eco-design, so you are using a more durable material or that materials that have a lower impact on the environment, you get what we call a bonus, an eco-modulation of your contribution.
Thanks.
And all these elements, all those fees are available on our website. So I can maybe share also a link so you will be able to see the barometer.
Yeah. Fantastic. Just share, if you can share any links, you can do it in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, that's excellent. Antwili Gjelle asks, is textile waste and reuse quality textiles delivered in the same textile bins or collection boxes? Do you have one stream for all textiles, or do you split them?
Okay,
into two?
I get the question. And this is a really good question. Today, the collection points are processing all the waste streams, both reusable and non-reusable. And this is what I was mentioning when I said that we need to Uberize collection. Probably that one of the options would be to have separate collection points for reuse and for recycling. Probably, yes. I know that some Nordic countries, I'm wondering Finland, I think that in Finland they have separate containers, one for reuse and one for recycling. So I know that some countries are already experimenting different collection flows.
Yeah, that's a discussion in Norway as well. Do you think the households will be able to distinguish between what is actually textile waste and what is reusable? Because that's also something we're a bit curious about.
I think that yes, we could invest into communication, training. I'm sure that we all in our deep inner feeling know that when you have a denim where the zipper doesn't work, where the pockets are completely destroyed, this is not going to be able to be reused. But if you have a denim that is a little bit loose, or maybe that you have one or two holes, it's completely okay to be reused. So I think that we as consumers know.
Yeah. The next question is from Ingunn Dalle Samset. Are all French producers and importers of textiles parts or members of the EPR system?
Yes, it's a mandatory. So you have no options. You have to pay.
Yeah. Linda Refashion asks, is Refashion the owner of all the sorting plants in France?
No, we don't own any sorting plants. We are a company that belongs to the brands from, like I showed you the 29 companies that are our shareholders. We don't own any facility. We are a financial organization.
The next question is there any support system or financial incentive to invest in ecodesign?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Both from Refashion and from the French government, the French Ministry of Environment has deployed a huge amount of subsidies and training programs. So today is the moment that brands have to change their model. Maybe that in 2 or 3 years, there will not be any more support. So now it's the time to do environmental assessment. It's now the time to investigate new materials, new ways of processing the product, because today there is a perfect timing and there is money and training and everything. I know it's not going to be easy, but if you miss the train today, tomorrow it's going to be harder.
The next question is, will the eco-branding be... Oh, sorry, people are writing and then the questions kind of jump. Will the eco-branding be national for France, or is it also discussed in the EU for harmonization?
Yes, environmental labeling, I think you are referring to, right? Environmental labeling, yes. So far, it's in France not mandatory. It's on an experimental phases, but huge brands like Decathlon, which is the #1 sports brand, have changed entirely their process, and all the products have the environmental labeling. So it's going to be experimentation until I think 2024, and then it will be mandatory. And the PEFCR, which is the European project I was referring to, the next stage of this PEFCR is a mandatory environmental labeling in Europe. So guys, move now. Do your environmental assessment now, because when it will be mandatory, it will be complex if you haven't done your due diligence.
Very true. Next question: Are there collected textiles sorted in reuse and recycling fractions in France or in Africa?
Oh, well, that's a good question. Some of the sorters are doing a first sorting to extract what we call the crème, which is the whipped cream that is the best textiles that are being resold in their own charity stores. And the next is completely shipped to Africa. And then in Africa, you have a second or third sorting to extract the textile that are going to be resold in the African markets, and that the only remaining part is then probably landfilled or incinerated. Other sorters are shipping everything directly to Dubai or Senegal or Madagascar, and the sorting is made locally. It's really depending on the nature of the sorter.
Next question. Is there data on any notable effect on the average value or price for textiles and clothes as a consequence of the EPR system?
Today, to be honest, the contribution is so low, it's less than 1 cent of euro. So today there is not any impact on the increase or decrease of purchase of the price. But tomorrow the contribution will be much higher. So tomorrow it will be also a visible fee. So the consumer will be able to see on the label or on the ticket, the price ticket, that this product, this t-shirt, is costing blah, blah, blah euros. And including in this price, you have an eco contribution of X cents or euro. And tomorrow, when we will put in place the malus, the penalty and the bonus, you will have the obligation to place on your ticket, on your purchasing ticket, that this product has been malus or bonus. So this is all the communication campaign that we are working on to have for the consumer a transparency on the product they are purchasing. You want to buy a product that has been eco-design, good for you, because this product has benefit from a bonus. You continue in your idea to purchase a product that has no eco-design system, that is very impactful on the environment. Please know that this product has paid a penalty.
Excellent. Next question. Does the EPR system support or finance repair schemes as well, or are there any plans to do it?
Yes, this is also a good question. The French government has voted a law called AGEC, AGEC, not very nice name, in February. And in this law, we have the obligation in the next mandate to create a special subsidy for reparation. So this is going to be very interesting. So far, we don't know how to address it, but we will have to put in place a system to be able to finance reparation to prolong the usage of the product. Absolutely.
Next question, and the compliments. Great presentation, thanks.
Thank you.
I want to ask about the bonus malus, which aims to promote eco-design. Today, textile EPR is only in France, but in future we expect EPR in many other countries. We, as IKEA, so this is a person from IKEA asking the question, sell the same textile item in all of EU. In order for producers to adapt and put resources into IT systems to collect the data needed for reporting so that producers can benefit from the bonus, it's key that the same bonus and malus is the same within all EU countries. What's your view on this?
Yes, IKEA. Yeah. We need you to go and push the decision into European Commission. We are absolutely on the same page. We need to have an EPR scheme that will be European, with the same calculation of the contribution and with the same calculation of the bonus and malus. I am dying for a European scheme.
She also asks, how will the future different PROs for textiles be able to harmonize?
Good question. Good question. So far, Refashion is the only eco-organization. We are willing to expand, so we can open spin-off or joint ventures in other countries, or we can merge into a more European organization. That's fine for us. We have not any personal ambition. We just want the industry to be 100% circular. So yes, with pleasure. Give me a call. We can discuss IKEA.
Excellent. Well, it helps a lot that you come to this webinar today and present how we should do it or can do it. So that's very good. Let's see, next question. How do you calculate the producer's contribution amount to the systems? What do the costs cover?
That's a good question. The contribution is calculated on a counterintuitive way. We first calculate how much does it cost to support the tons that the sorters are processing. How much does it cost to pay the local communities to do the communication? How much do we want to invest into innovation? On that, we add how much cost the Refashion team, salaries, facility, etc. We add how much does it cost to support new projects like the ecodesign platform, like the recycle platform, etc. And we make a total, and then we divide this total by ton and by kilos, and then it goes to the different families of products.
Wow.
Very easy.
Next question. You say that if the product is more durable, how is it defined? Also, what tools do you use when assessing more sustainable material?
Yes, so durability is a key question, and is being discussed currently into the PEFCR project. Durability, we have a lot of tests that are in the modulation sheet. I will send you. It's on the website of Refashion, so you can have access to all the durability criteria. So it's resistance to tearness, it's resistant to color dyeing. I'm not sure of all the English names for all these, but everything is very clearly indicated in the declaration. So the product has to be into a certain level of durability stage to be able to be eligible to eco-modulation. And then regarding the material question, we have two eco-modulation, one based on the integration of recycled material coming from post-consumer waste. And the second criteria is a modulation based on integration of recycled material coming from production waste. And we are thinking of adding a new eco-modulation that will be based into the integration of recycled material coming from other waste streams. Because as we are promoting the open loop, saying that our textile waste can be used into construction, automotive, etc., we need to be open-minded. So we need to accept the fact that some textile will be made from recycled polyester coming from packaging, for instance. And today, this is not modulated. So I think it's going to be a change.
Thanks. Margrethe is also curious about the price tag. And asks if you can show an example on the price tag for presenting the eco-design fee. Maybe if you have something available, you can share it in the chat later.
Yes, today on the textile, and clothing and footwear, it's not mandatory. But if you look at, for instance, furniture, and IKEA could share an example. When you look at IKEA page, you have the price of a chair or a table, and it's indicated the contribution is this. So if I have 2 minutes, I can maybe go on the French IKEA website, so I can share it with you quickly. I'm not sure that from Norwegian you can go into the French IKEA store. I don't know. Okay, I'm taking this one, for instance. So many products. I just want one.
If not, maybe IKEA can assist us on finding a good example.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen so you can see it. Okay. So, do you see the Zoderam coach?
Oh, yeah.
So it costs 800 euros. And here you have a mention which is called Don Éco-participation mobilier, 23.99 euros. This is the eco-contribution. So IKEA is paying to the company that is doing the same job as Refashion, but on furniture, is paying 23.99 euros of eco-contribution.
Oh, okay.
Can you see this?
Yes.
It's on your screen? Yes? Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
This is what we are aiming to do also for textile and footwear.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And I think that there is three minutes left. I'm sorry. So maybe one last or two question, and I will have to leave.
I'm just gonna read. Okay, I'm just gonna do it in order, I think. Are there economic incentives in the model for using recycled fiber rather than virgin fibers?
Yes, this is the modulation we were talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so maybe we can do like one last question and then so many. What is the definition of textiles in France? Do you have any step-by-step approach on what should be included in the textile EPR? And also, same question as before, are you pushing for harmonization of the definition of textiles?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah. We push for European harmonization, and so far the definition we have in France, textile is everything that you wear as a human.
It's very good. Let's see. Okay, one more question, Maud, if you have 2 minutes. When comparing durability of materials, what about differences between fibers, function and performance in the product?
This is a good question, and PEFCR is addressing it. Durability and functionality has been key in the discussion. So we are looking forward to receive these PEFCR guidelines, and we will adapt the French eco-modulation system to the European one. Absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. We actually managed to get through all the questions. People probably stopped asking because they know you're leaving in 1 minute.
I'm sorry. Anyway, like I mentioned to Peter, if you want to do a follow-up webinar in maybe a few weeks or a few months' time, let's do it if it's easier for you.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, Maud. Thank you so much. Peter, do you want to say a few words for 30 seconds before Maud has to leave us? You can do
Peter,
it.
we can't see you. Peter. Well, anyway, if you want to have a follow-up discussion in Norwegian, and once I will share my presentation, maybe people will have questions in 1 week or 2 weeks. We can address them in the next webinar.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. Thanks.
I will say in 30 seconds, Maud, I kept quiet. At least I was muted. So congratulations to Maud and Refashion. It was so interesting to hear. After all these discussions in Norway, for or against EPR and textiles and everything. So I think this was a very good investment for all of us. And it's fantastic to see how you manage, thanks to Sarkozy or someone in 2008, to join forces. That's a key for success. While the rest of us are looking and waiting for Brussels. And then if nothing happens or it goes wrong, we can blame Brussels. And it was interesting to see how you are working to join forces in Europe. And maybe we can send a message to the new Norwegian government on the same, how we can harmonize and walk the way together in Europe. And at the same time, you also mentioned that the result is 60% for reuse. That's also very important information, that your scheme is not replacing reuse, but you see a future where more textiles can be recycled in Europe. And what you didn't say is that the recycled material we recycle in Norway can go in Europe, can go into a European textile industry to make the textile industry even stronger here. You also mentioned the rehubs a little bit today, and maybe the solution is not 6 sorting plants, huge recycling plants, but it's so important that someone has some ambitions talking about Europe and a structure. So it's fantastic what you are doing with rehubs as well. So
Peter, we're 2 minutes
we can
past
just
10 now.
thank you for being the front runner, and hopefully the Norwegian will be inspired by your speech, and hopefully we can make it again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a nice morning. Thank you for inviting me, and looking forward to discussion with the Norwegian producers. We would love to. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, that was great. So many questions asked and answered. That's excellent. So it's now 10 o'clock, 2 minutes past 10. And the plan is to switch to Norwegian now for some more discussions amongst us on EPR in Norway. So I'm just going to change now to Norwegian. Det passer seg fint, det, Peter. Har du lyst til å varme opp rommet med en liten introduksjon til den neste delen av agendaen?
Jeg kan godt gjøre det. I Frankrike så var det mye å gjøre, så vi fikk en time, men det var en veldig god time, må jeg si. Så nå trenger vi å fordøye alt dette her. Men siden forrige gang så lærte vi om Sverige. Denne gangen har jeg lært om Frankrike, og den 27. november så skal vi lære om Tyskland. På den
25.
Hva sa du?
25. november, ja.
Da inviterer vi Tyskland, og 2 av de som er fra Tyskland har vært med i dag. Så de vet hva dette går om. Men det gjelder jo å hente inspirasjon, så når vi skal ha diskusjon nå, så kan vi jo diskutere alle mulige andre saker om grusomme tekstiler og grusomme produsenter og grusomme forbrukere og alt som er trist og leit. Men hvis vi greier å få diskusjonen i forhold til det vi har lært fra Frankrike i dag, og gjerne de som har erfaringer fra Frankrike, om de kan si noe mer om sine erfaringer og synspunkter, så er det veldig fint å få frem, sånn at i dag så er det Frankrikes dag. Og siden vi har en referanse som heter Sverige, så hvis noen greier å si, er det noen forskjeller mellom Sverige og Frankrike, eller er det noe som er bra i Sverige, dårlig i Frankrike, eller omvendt, så har vi liksom de 2 referanserammene som kan gjøre dette litt spennende. Så da får vi se om det er noen som tør å rekke opp hånda, så kan vi ta det ikke bare i chatten, men at noen kan stille spørsmål eller komme med noen kommentarer. Og vi har ikke snakket helt ut om frivillige organisasjoners rolle, kommunenes rolle, alt om det å være medlem, så det er mange ting igjen her. Men her er det bare å hive seg på, men la oss holde oss litt til Frankrike og Sverige, og ikke snakke om alle mulige andre tekstilting, sånn at det går i alle retninger. Greier vi det?
Det ser ikke ut som det tar helt av enn så lenge, så jeg tenker jeg skal prøve å oppfordre noen her, for jeg er også, som du Peter, litt nysgjerrig på hva innsamlerne tenkte om systemet i Frankrike. Og det jeg egentlig skulle spørre om var dette med sorteringsanlegg, for nå skulle støtten til sorteringsanlegg flyttes over til materialgjenvinningsteknologi, at man skulle investere i det. Og det er jo litt spennende. Det hadde vært spennende å vite om hun tror at sorteringsanleggene vil klare seg uten subsidier, for det er jo en av de store tingene vi lurer på i Norge når vi snuser på et nasjonalt sorteringsanlegg for tekstiler her. Men jeg vet ikke om skal vi se om jeg ser noen, er det noen innsamlere som har lyst til å, der ja, Ingunn, hun rekker opp hånda, så da kan du begynne, Ingunn, hvis du har lyst.
Ja, jeg hadde lyst til å kommentere spørsmålet om dette med likhet mellom Frankrike og Sverige. Og det er jo åpenbart at det satses veldig hardt på resirkulering. Og at selv om det meste skal til gjenbruk, så er det på resirkuleringssiden virkemidlene er plassert. Og jeg må jo si at jeg lurer på hvem det er som skal bruke alle klærne. De skal altså brukes i Europa. Og her i Norge så vet vi jo hvor lite som gjenbrukes. Sånn at det er jo interessant at så lite av det faktiske virkemidlene som blir omtalt handler om hvordan dette faktisk skal gjøres. Altså, hvordan skal vi gå da fra den prosentandelen vi har i dag, som er forsvinnende liten, og til at alt skal brukes her. Så det mitt spørsmål, altså hvem dette, og hvordan skal vi komme dit? Jeg tror jo at både Frankrike og Sverige bommer, fordi de ikke tar inn det som det viktigste, nemlig bruken av klær. Hvordan skal vi forlenge bruken av klær? Ikke bare si til noen at de skal gjøre det, men faktisk utvikle politikk og virkemidler som en integrert del av systemet. Så det min kommentar til dette, til det vi har hørt fra Frankrike, som jo også ligner mye på det vi, eller ja, har likhetstrekk I hvert fall med det svenske.
Nå ser jeg at Jens har hånda oppe. Jens Måge, I alle fall Norge. Du tar ordet.
Yes, takk. Veldig spennende å høre om det franske produsentansvarssystemet. Jeg har hørt det en gang tidligere. Og det som slår meg da, bare noen refleksjoner. Og til Peter også, jeg enig I at det veldig oppløftende å se at de klarer å jobbe sammen I Frankrike. Og jeg helt enig I at vi må få til nå et push inn mot EU og koordinere ting og så videre. Og ikke sitte bare og vente på EU. Det litt det vi føler veldig på I alle fall Norge også, at vi I Norge har en tendens til å skylde på EU når ting går tregt eller går feil. Og så vi egentlig ofte alt for treige til å implementere det som allerede kommer fra EU, og vi ikke nok delaktige I de prosessene som går I EU. Så det var den siden. Og så det bare en par ting som refleksjoner, og det var at I Frankrike så har de altså, det var 30% innsamlingsgrad. Og så må noen korrigere meg, ligger vi ikke på 50% I Norge? Det ikke halvparten, vi sier at halvparten av tekstilene går I restavfall?
Det litt sånn mellom 30 og 50, men jeg husker hvis noen innsamlere har lyst til å korrigere meg på det, så...
Ja, for det som slår meg at hvorfor har de ikke kommet lengre I Frankrike, altså 30% jo ikke mye, etter å ha hatt produsentansvar I over 10 år. Og de har jo egentlig gått mye penger inn I først og fremst sorteringsanleggene, da, men de har jo hatt et bidrag inn mot innsamlingsleddet også.
Jens, jeg tror jeg leste at den innsamlingsandelen var betraktelig lavere før fransk EPR ble innført. Da tror jeg den lå på 10% eller noe, men det mulig at jeg ikke husker helt riktig.
Det kan godt være, men poenget mitt var å sammenligne med norske forhold. Da.
Absolutt. Og det jo et veldig godt poeng også, Jens. Jeg vet ikke, Arnt Willi, har du lyst til å reflektere litt? Du skrudde på kamera, så da tar jeg...
Ja, da gir et lite signal om at... Nei, altså, jo, jeg også stusset litt over det at ikke det var en høyere innsamlingsgrad I Frankrike med et så voldsomt stort apparat. Jeg må jo si jeg ble veldig imponert når jeg hørte alt det som var I hele det konseptet. Så det har jo kommet langt, men jeg hadde jo trodd at det var en høyere innsamlingsgrad. I Norge så har jo vi I bedriftsnettverket på innsamlingene funnet ut at vi samler inn cirka 35 000 tonn, og så hvis det da fortsatt kastes da, fra privathusholdningen, det sted mellom 8 og 10 kilo per innbygger, så vi jo da nærmer vi oss I hvert fall 50%, eller I hvert fall har en bedre uttelling allerede I dag hos oss. Så jeg enig med Ingunn at det var jo ingenting I det systemet som skulle honorere eller støtte eller bidra til gjenbruksdelen, eller det å forlenge livet eller bruke klærne lenger. Og det tenker jeg, hvis vi skal ha et system her hjemme, så ville det være litt, I motsetning til veldig mange andre fraksjoner, så skal jo tekstil skal jo heies på gjenbruk primært. Og I motsetning til alle andre fraksjoner som da skal gjenvinnes. Og det klart at det å stimulere, lage god politikk, som Ingunn akkurat nå sa, til å få folk til å bruke dette lengre, stimulere til at folk bruker klærne sine lengre, alt som går, også det var jo heller ikke noen incitament på innsamlingssida. Alt skulle nå skrus over på resirkulering eller materialgjenvinning eller gjenvinningsbiten. Og jeg synes også det blir litt snevert da, for å få til en god sirkulær loop, så bør det være insentiver på alle de leddene som hun viste i den plansjen sin, som man avhengig av, for hun sa jo det at vi jo avhengig av, og så viste hun en veldig sånn fin tegning på alle aktørene, og da trenger man jo også insentiver på det som går på å fortelle og få folk til å velge brukt da, i stedet for nytt, så langt det lar seg gjøre. Vet at de som produserer nye klær kanskje ikke synes at dette, men det jo det som riktig. Og så tenker jeg at de har en veldig, og det var også det jeg noterte, da bare hopper jeg litt på notatene mine, men de har jo en veldig høy tilgjengelighet da, på innsamling, og derfor så også undrer jeg meg litt over at ikke den innsamlingsgraden var høyere, for de hadde jo over 40 000 enheter av bokser, og så hadde de jo innsamlingsenheter hos alle retailerne. Slik at jeg tror vi ligger veldig godt an med det innsamlingssystemet vi har i Norge i dag, og vi har et veldig godt utgangspunkt, og så tror jeg at det å nå reflektere godt over det som gjøres og gjort i Sverige, også i Sverige, men også i Frankrike, og plukke ut og se hvordan man kan tilpasse noe som kan bli enda bedre i Norge, vil være helt flott. Det var veldig bra med den gjennomgangen i dag da.
Takk for refleksjonen, Andrelie. Felicia, du har hånda oppe.
Ja, jag bara hade en reflektion också över hur mycket som hamnar i hushållssoporna och vad man räknar också när det är hemtextil, om det är liksom lakan eller handdukar som slängs i de här kilo. Och i Frankrike så har, jag vet inte riktigt hur man beräknar, men det kan vara missvisande ibland med insamling. Men jag tror generellt, upplever jag att i Norden så har vi en annan bakgrund med att lämna in till organisationer på ett annat sätt. Så jag tror att vi har en högre grad, som du säger från början, och en annan bakgrund i det. Men jag håller med om att jag upplever från mina kollegor i Frankrike att det känns nästan bara som man betalar sig fri. Förstår ni vad jag menar? Att det driver inte till återbruk på det sättet. Att det är uppsatt på ett sätt så att det är jättesvårt att rapportera. Det är svårt att bevisa. Det är lite catch-22. Så att det blir nästan bara att man bara betalar sig ur det. Förstår ni vad jag menar? Att det har inte blivit att man pushar till återbruk. Att företag vill återbruka mer. Eller förstår ni? Så att det kan jag uppleva i det franska systemet, att det är så himla komplicerat. Och om man skulle göra copy-paste på det på resten av Europa, så skulle vi bara behöva massa personer som ska sitta och rapportera och inte fokusera på annat. Så att men det finns jättemycket bra hur de har fått ihop branschen, men jag upplever också det känns inte som att de har med organisationerna, upplevde jag, i insamling, att de bara, jag tyckte inte att det var så proaktivt i den biten.
Jens? Det kald hånd eller varm hånd?
Det en kald hånd, beklager.
Det går helt fint. Skal vi se, neste Arnt-Willy.
Ja, det var en varm hånd. Ja, det var en liten ting som jeg glemte å kommentere i stad, og som jeg tenker viktig at vi, i hvert fall nå når det så mange til stede her da, så vil jeg jo si at hun var veldig sånn, kanskje litt, hun var veldig tydelig på at vi skulle ikke være redd for å si at det eksporteres. Men jeg vil jo si det at alle vi nå som samler inn i Norge, vi har jo også et stort apparat her hjemme med sosialt arbeid som vi dekker opp med det vi samler inn av klær. Så i hvert fall i vår organisasjon og eier så blir det jo delt ut carte blanche til de som trenger det gjennom Frelsesarmeens system. Og vi har jo et stort nettverk av de som trenger sosial støtte med klær også. Så det blir jo, vi prøver jo å la det bli så mye som mulig igjen i Norge, både til de som trenger det og ikke kan betale for det, og så ønsker vi jo selvsagt om mulig å selge enda mer brukt ved å lage nye konsepter og utvikle bedre og større ønske om å kjøpe brukt, slik at klarer vi å beholde mer i Norge, så gjør vi jo gjerne det mot for å eksportere. Så det jo noe vi må bare jobbe for. Og da vi litt inne på det med Ingunn og hennes politikk, ønske om en bedre politikk igjen, stimulere til at så mye blir så kortreist som mulig da, i Norge.
Veldig sant. Ingunn?
Ja, jeg hadde en kommentar til dette med tallene, og det var at det en X-faktor i alle disse tallene, ved siden av de vi allerede vet om, altså teller man sko og teller man hjemmetekstil og så videre. Definisjonen av tekstil var jo veldig spesiell her da, og annerledes enn det vi har operert med. Men i hvert fall dette med tallene, og der det det at det som ikke telles jo sirkulering som foregår privat. Og den vet vi jo stor i Norge. Den kan være annerledes i Frankrike enn den i Norge, og det fikk vi jo ikke høre noe om. Slik at når vi begynner å telle hvor mye tekstiler som leveres til gjenbruk og resirkulering, så må vi jo også vite at vi ikke vet hvor mye som har vært gitt eller brukt til resirkulering og gjenbruk i utgangspunktet. Og det jo fordi at kunnskapen om den private sirkuleringen av tekstiler veldig lav. Slik at vi vet ikke nullpunktet, ikke sant? Så det kan hende at det som telles, altså det som leveres til resirkulering og gjenbruk, øker, uten at den faktiske mengden øker. Ser dere hva jeg mener? Hvis vi avviklet arv helt i Norge, så måtte vi altså doble gjenbruket for å kompensere for det, altså det kommersielle gjenbruket. Ja. Så det var en kommentar på det med tallene. Og så var det en annen ting, og det at det var mange rare tall. Og i begynnelsen så sa hun jo også hvor mye som blir resirkulert i Frankrike, går til resirkulering i Frankrike per i dag. Og nå husker jeg ikke akkurat hvilke tall hun sa, men det var jo skyhøyt over de under 1% som det globale gjennomsnittet her. Så hvordan det faktisk foregår, og om det tallet kan stemme, det jo en annen ting da. Men av alle de kommentarene som har kommet til nå, så virker det jo som det en enighet her, at på den ene siden virker det imponerende og ambisiøst, på den andre siden så rettes faktisk ikke dette virkemidlet inn mot det som haster mest, nemlig å få kvaliteten opp og kvantiteten ned, slik at alle systemene våre for sirkulære løsninger faktisk blir lønnsomme og realistiske.
Veldig bra innspilling. Trond Ivar har hånden oppe.
Ja, jeg tenkte jeg skulle si litt om dette med, du spurte litt i forhold til dette med sortering og eventuelt støtte der, for det stort sett bare vi som sorterer i større grad. Og det i alle fall sånn at i Norge så, vi kjenner jo til kostnaden knyttet til sortering, og den ikke liten. Og hvis du skal sortere de mengdene som nå blir kastet i restavfallet, så det en betydelig kostnad som ligger i den biten der. Så det må på en eller annen måte kompenseres, for det løses jo på andre måter i dag. Vi kan ikke sortere mer enn det som vi klarer å levere til og selge i våre butikker. Og det ikke vanskelig å forstå at i Norge der et stort potensial, men vi jo en lite antall mennesker i Norge. Slik at du nødt til å kompensere sortering, sånn som vi ser det, utifra vår erfaring. Når det gjelder dette med det som blir kastet i restavfallet, så det jo det som trasig der, det jo at det cirka av de 8-10 kilo som blir kastet i restavfallet, så det jo mellom 3 og 4, og kanskje mer også faktisk, som kunne vært gjenbrukt. Men problemet jo at det havner sammen med det som skal til både til materialgjenvinning og andre ting, som gjør at det da blir ødelagt. Så det å fått ut det potensialet der ville bidratt både til mer gjensalg i Norge, men også til mye høyere andel som kunne selges i utlandet. Og våre kunder jo stort sett, som da kjøper tekstiler av oss, de jo stort sett i Europa eller i Øst-Europa veldig mye, og der de har store butikkjeder som de da leverer til. Så det klart, får vi opp det volumet, så blir det i alle fall et betydelig større gjenbruksvolum.
Trond Ivar, jeg glemte å si at du fra Fretex, og dere de eneste som har sorteringsanlegg i dag i Norge.
Jeg glemte å si det selv nok.
Nei.
Beklager det.
Men nå vet jeg. Så det var bra. Takk for de innspillene. Nå det ingen som rekker opp hendene lenger, men det jeg har litt sånn på sparket lyst til å gjøre, fordi nå tilbydde jo Maud seg å komme tilbake å holde et nytt foredrag for oss. Og så det jo utrolig mye interesse rundt det franske EPR-systemet, så jeg lurer på, jeg har litt lyst til å utfordre de som her I dag til å tenke på om vi skal kanskje invitere Maud tilbake, og hvis dere som deltagere I dagens webinar har noen innspill til hva Maud skal snakke mer om da, så kan dere enten legge det inn I chatten her, eller så kan dere sende meg en e-post, og så skal vi prøve å få på plass et nytt webinar med Maud, enten litt senere I år, eller kanskje tidligere til neste år. Det var I hvert fall min tanke. Jeg synes det hadde vært spennende, I hvert fall for min del. Jens, har du hånda oppe nå? Nå den varm igjen.
Ja, og nå tok jeg den ned med en gang for ikke å sørge for at den ikke ble stående. Men det var litt det der med spørsmål om det svenske versus det franske. Forstår jeg det sånn nå at det franske, der omfatter det klær og fottøy, men ikke annen tekstil, altså industritekstil eller møbel eller biler og busser, holdt jeg på å si. Mens I Sverige så har man på forslaget da tatt med mye mer. Det egentlig bare et spørsmål da. Og så var det bare en ting jeg hadde lyst til å si som jeg synes veldig interessant da. Det jo når vi snakker om dette I europeisk sammenheng, når vi har med IKEA og Hennes & Mauritz og sånn her, så det jo veldig interessant å se at hele EU nå har den samme utfordringen. Vi har jo ikke nedstrømsløsninger som får på plass, og vi skal ha dette innsamlingskravet fra 2025 med store nye volumer som vil komme inn, og så vi har en kjempeutfordring, og vi liksom I samme båt da. Det synes jeg veldig interessant, når jeg også snakker med europeiske kollegaer rundt disse tingene.
Jeg kan bare si igjen at I Frankrike så har de også 2 andre produsentansvarssystemer på plass, og det for møbler. Så det vel veldig mye av de tekstilene som ikke med I tekstilprodusentansvaret som dekkes via møbelprodusentansvaret, og så må noen korrigere meg hvis jeg ikke svarer helt riktig nå. Og så lurer jeg på, Felicia, du kjenner jo litt bedre til det svenske systemet, for du har vært med I arbeidsgruppen der, så jeg vet ikke om du kan si noe om Jens sitt spørsmål om hva som inkludert I den svenske produsentansvarsordningen som nå ute till vurdering.
Ja, men det väl, förlåt. Vadet satt, alltså som utanför, men inte huret. Så att huret lämnas till, vad ska man säga, industrin. Så huret hur ett insamlingssystem skulle se ut, hur mycket man ska betala. Allt det liksom up for grabs skulle jag säga. Det de har satt väl målen och definitionen vad som textil. Och att det ska vara up and running senast 2024. Nu har ju inte det gått igenom helt. Så att det är väldigt svårt att veta det här hur det ska se ut. Är ingen som vet just nu. Och hur mycket man skulle betala. Ska det fortsätta vara... De ger ju tips och tycker att man ska fortsätta med de insamlingssystem som redan finns, som funkar bra. Typ I butik, och att organisationer ska fortsätta få samla in och få ta det de vill ha, och resten ska gå in liksom I insamlingssystemet I princip. Så det är väl det som är satt. Det är väldigt förenklat. Det är ju mycket mer där till, men ungefär så.
Ska vi se. Linda, du har hånda uppe. Og så du muta, Linda.
Yes. Veldig, veldig spennende, og jeg synes det fantastisk at det så mange som med. Det viktig for oss I dette prosjektet å få så mye kunnskap om de forskjellige systemene I de andre landene, sånn at tusen takk for at dere alle med. Jeg synes jeg har 4 ting jeg har lyst til å bare kommentere. Det ene at det så mange produsenter som med I Frankrike. Det synes jeg interessant. At alle med. Det synes jeg også var en interessant over 4000. Det synes jeg var spennende. Og så synes jeg det var også dette troen på forbrukeren, i forhold til hvordan man kan gjøre innsamlingen og troen på dette med transparent, synes jeg også hun vekter ganske mye, som jeg synes var også ganske interessant da. Det at forbrukeren kan sortere i 2 deler, men problemet hjelper jo ikke å dele sorteringen i 2 hvis ikke vi har en gjenvinningssystem som kan ivareta det. Så veldig mye gevinsten ligger jo i økodesign og få opp kvaliteten for å få økt levetid. Sånn at jeg synes jeg støtter meg til veldig mye av det som sagt tidligere da. Ja.
Takk, Linda. Nå har vi 3 minutter igjen av møtetiden vår, og så trenger jeg, Petter, jeg trenger kanskje et halvt minutt. Men vil du ha 2,5 minutter til å oppsummere litt? For å se om du klarer det på 2,5 minutter.
Ja, det har jeg aldri greid før. Men jeg bare gjentar at det var veldig hyggelig at så mange var med. Det var folk fra Canada, Chile, Frankrike, Danmark, Sverige og Norge, så det var veldig stor oppmerksomhet, så jeg tror vi i Norge på riktig spor ved at vi lytter og lærer før vi går ned i skyttergravene. For her har vi mye å lære, og jeg må si at Frankrike en drivende kraft. Det å bare samle næringsliv vanskelig nok. Så det har de greid, så mye kan sies om det. I en kommentar Sverige versus Frankrike at Frankrike jo et sentralistisk land, og satser veldig på nasjonale systemer. Det ble nevnt også at det systemer for møbler, husholdningsmøbler og møbler fra næringslivet, mens vi klager og sutrer på Dagsrevyen over alle møblene fra Nav som går rett på dynga. Frankrike har gjort dette her i 13 år. Når det gjelder forskjellen Sverige og Frankrike, så snakket vi litt om det, men i Frankrike også et stort system, enighet om å kjøre sammen, mens i Sverige så legger man jo opp til at hvem som helst kan være innsamler, og hvem som helst kan være produsentansvarssystem. Det jo nesten som et anarki, der alle søknadene skal gå til Naturvårdsverket, som har mange andre ting å tenke på. Så må man tenke på en ting til med hele dette her, som går litt over mye av det vi har snakket om, det at det en større plan. Det jo veldig mange etasjer nede i EU-tenkningen. Og det vel det samme som Trump sa, at make Europe great again. Inklusive tekstilindustrien, som har forlatt oss for mange år siden, har endt opp mange andre steder i verden. Alt det vi tenker på her jo også for å gjøre Europa konkurransedyktig. Og kanskje kan denne gjenvinningen bety at en ny tekstilindustri bygges opp, basert på vår egen gjenvunnet materiale. Vi får et konkurransefortrinn, i stedet for at vi har gitt et konkurransefortrinn til noen venner i øst, som har fått gratis råvarer i mange år, og konkurrert oss ut på det ene og det andre. Når det gjelder statistikk, vær forsiktig med alle tall 5 kilo og 8 kilo. Var det med og uten skotøy og håndklær, eller hva var det for noe? Så vi var litt inne på statistikk her, og jeg har også stusset på at kanskje tallene i Frankrike dårligere enn i Norge og England for den saks skyld, som satser på charity-organisasjoner, men vi får være forsiktige med tallene. Så kom vi, og det kan jo være en melding også til myndighetene, at Eurostat jo nærmest en søppelbøtte for dårlig statistikk. Så hvis ikke EU og norske statistikkmyndigheter har bedre tall, hvordan i all verden skal vi lage gode strategier og følge dem opp? Så statistikk viktig rundt dette vanskelige temaet også. Til slutt så var det et lite spørsmål om hvem vi skal betale et system. Skal vi betale her eller der, eller skal alle få litt? Bare huske fra 1996, da betalte vi bare penger til Folldal for å gjenvinne plasten. Ut fra den tanken at ingenting var noe vits i hvis ikke den regranulatet gikk inn i plastbæreposer eller andre produkter. Og så ville den smøringen et sted i sirkelen få hele sirkelen til å få penger. Senere så har det systemet utviklet seg litt, men det ikke noe fasit på hvor man betaler, men det en viktig del av modelltankegangen. Så det var litt her og litt der.
Det bra, Petter.
Vi trenger et møte til med franskmennene, det helt klart.
Ja, definitivt. Og nå har jeg opp på skjermen. Det skulle stå takk for oss, men den har forsvunnet ut. Men det jeg ville si raskt før vi avslutter, er bare å invitere dere til neste webinar i denne serien. Det er 25. november fra 9 til halv 11. Og da kommer Tyskland og skal fortelle om deres arbeid med produsentansvar. Alle dere som har vært der i dag skal få en invitasjon av oss senere, når den er klar. Og så vil jeg også gjerne invitere dere alle til NF&TA-konferansen den 2. og 3. november. Og dere kan se programmet og bestille billetter på nettsidene våre på nf&TA.no. Så det er det vi rekker, tror jeg, i dag. Og så vil jeg si tusen takk. Det var en veldig spennende webinar, og det er supert at dere stiller så mange spørsmål, for da blir det enda bedre. Tusen takk. Så ses vi igjen. Ok, ha det.